Hello, my name is Reed Fontenot, and the city we'll be discussing is Lyon, France. Lyon would not become a full-fledged city until Roman occupancy around the 1st century BCE. Here we see a map of the eventual location of Lyon under Roman control. I think this 1st century map showcases well Lyon, as the Romans knew it, Lugdunum's position in relation to the growing Roman Empire. You can clearly see the three provinces of Gaul and Lugdunum's position as capital of the Lugdunensis province circled in red. You can also see the city's relation to the Rhone and Saône rivers and why that becomes important as it grows. During this time, we see a major conquest led by Julius Caesar over the whole of Gaul, citing the importance of the Rhone River and its ability to be a center for commerce. Julius succeeds in defeating the local people during the Gaul War prior to his assassination in 43 BCE. Following the death of Caesar, we see Roman regional chief Lucius found a new colony named Lugdunum on Fourviere Hill. Around 27 BCE, we see the splitting up of Gaul into three provinces by Emperor Augustus, with Lugdunum becoming the capital of all three, gaining the name the Trois Gaules capital. Following its appointment as the capital of the Gaul provinces, the construction of the Via Agrippa around the 1st century BCE showcased the city's increased importance as all the roads throughout the Gaul provinces led back to Lugdunum. With these improvements in the city, we quickly see the archetypal Roman city spring up within a period of about 50 years. One of the first examples of the typical Roman buildings one might find in other Roman cities was the construction of the Sanctuaire of the Trois Gaules. It served as a forum-like political building with 60 sitting chiefs from different cities within Gaul. Here they meet once a year in what they called the Trois Gaules Council, and its main objective was in presenting the interests of the Gauls to the Romans. As you can see, the Roman golden coin bears an inscription that depicts the marble altar situated in front of the sanctuary. Sadly, the sanctuary would be destroyed, but its description lives on through Strabo's text and Geographica stating, Lugdunum is the most populous of all the cities in Celtica. The Roman governors coined their money there. Again, the temple that was dedicated to Caesar Augustus by all the Galatii is situated in front of the city at the junction of the rivers. This highlights not only the existence of the sanctuary, but also the growing importance of Lugdunum in Rome. Situated near the sanctuary is the Theatre of Fourviere, carved into Fourviere Hill. Its construction would come in two steps, starting in 15 BCE, with the theatre being built in the hill, and the second construction of audience seating at the beginning of the 2nd century. It was the largest in all of Gaul and even hosted gladiator fights and executions. Today, the theater remains intact as displayed in the picture. Perhaps the most Romanesque structure found in Lyon is that of the Forum, and it served as a main political and administrative building. It would later be destroyed around the 9th century CE and served as an example of spolia, with much of its materials being used to construct the Cathedral of St. John. With the collapse of the Roman Empire in 476 CE, we also see the collapse of Rome in Lyon, in a time of far less significance for the city, shifting from one of the most important of the Roman Empire to one who can no longer afford the institutions brought in by Romans, like the Nizier aqueduct system pictured to the right. Lyon would then begin a centuries-long bout of changing leadership and lessened importance. The Burgundian kingdom was the first which would rule throughout the beginning of the 5th century CE. Under the Burgundians, the city would retain some political power, but with its takeover by the Franks in 534 CE, the city would be relegated to a more religious role, with the bishop being the most powerful figure in the city. It retained some power as it held favor with the papacy, and its archbishop even gained the title of Primate of Gaul in 1079 from Pope Gregory VII. The Holy Roman reign would dominate for centuries to come, and during it, many of the most prominent religious structures in Lyon would be built, such as St. John Cathedral, or in 1180 CE, and as mentioned earlier, it was built with reused materials from the old Roman Forum. At this time, Lyon was under control of the Holy Roman Empire, and they would not see change in rule until about the 13th century CE. It was during the 13th century CE that we would see Lyon consumed by riots as the bourgeoisie and the clergy struggled for power. Seeing the dissent happening in Lyon, King Philip IV would seize the opportunity and take over power in the city in 1311, putting them under French rule. With this came the Salopine sign in 1320 that created a 12-person council to be elected by the bourgeoisie. The St. Nizier Church exemplifies well the influence the change in rule over to France had on Lyon. Built around the 14th century to 16th century CE, it displays a Gothic structure with tall spirals as pictured and pointed portals. This was in part due to King Louis XI's establishment of 4 annual fairs, which brought in new styles. This ties in well to what we've seen in many of the cities we have discussed prior, as with changes in rule, we often see changes in culture and architecture that follow as new people flood in. This 15th century map displays this history well, as even centuries after Roman removal, you can still see the Romanesque, grid-like patterns throughout the city blocks.